In November 2017, people traveled to Raleigh, North Carolina for the first International Flat Earth Conference. They filled a hotel ballroom to hear that the planet beneath them was not a globe.
For those who call themselves flat earthers, the Flat Earth International Conference is the ultimate meetup.
As soon as it got announced, I basically booked the hotel and I booked the ticket straight away.
For those attending, getting together with those who share their beliefs is a nice change of pace to the ridicule they normally face.
It's not a way to make friends and impress your family, because if they're not willing to look, they're going to think you're crazy.
And many attending the conference here say the theory has really gained popularity over the past few years.
And the governments, scientists, pilots, teachers, and almost every major institution were protecting the same impossible secret. The strange part was not that a fringe belief still existed. Fringe beliefs have always existed. The strange part was how many people said they had only recently joined it. Researchers who spoke to flat Earth believers found a pattern. Many had begun as skeptics. They clicked a video, expecting to laugh at it or disprove it. Then they watched another, then another. Eventually, the question was no longer, how could anyone believe this? It was, what if they are right? And when researchers asked what had carried them from ridicule to belief, one answer kept returning: YouTube. This is not really a story about flat Earth. It is a story about a machine that learned how to turn doubt into a viewing session. The machine was not built to spread lies. It was built to solve clickbait. And that may be what makes the story more disturbing. The algorithm did not need to believe the Earth was flat. It only needed to notice that one unsettling question could lead to the next.
Before 2012, YouTube discovery was heavily driven by views and clicks. That sounds reasonable. A video people click must be a video people want. Except creators quickly learned that a click was easier to manufacture than satisfaction. A misleading title could promise something the video never delivered. A provocative thumbnail could pull viewers into content they abandoned seconds later. The system rewarded the ability to attract attention, even when that attention immediately became disappointment. So, YouTube changed the rules. In March 2012, the company announced that watch time would become the leading signal for related and recommended videos. It would still measure clicks, but it would increasingly reward videos that kept people watching. A few months later, YouTube explained the ambition more clearly. It wanted videos that led into longer viewing sessions across the platform. This was a smart decision. Clicks measured curiosity, watch time seemed to measure value. But watch time can tell a system that you watched a claim for 20 minutes. It cannot tell the system whether you watched because the claim was accurate, frightening, outrageous, comforting, or impossible to ignore. YouTube had found a better way to measure attention. It had not found a way to measure truth, and every system teaches people what it rewards. When YouTube rewarded clicks, creators perfected thumbnails and titles. When it rewarded watch time, creators learned pacing, suspense, and open loops. And when it rewarded entire viewing sessions, the ideal video was no longer one that simply answered a question. It was one that created the next question. This is where conspiracy content has a structural advantage. A normal educational video might ask why the sky is blue, explain the science, and end. A conspiracy video asks why the sky is blue, tells you the official explanation is suspicious, introduces a hidden group that benefits from the lie, questions the institutions that might correct it, and leaves you with 5 new mysteries. The factual explanation closes the loop. The conspiracy expands it. One video can question the moon landing. The next can question NASA, then satellites, then gravity, then the shape of the Earth itself. Evidence against the theory does not always destroy it. It can be absorbed into it. The scientist denies the claim because the scientist is involved. The photograph contradicts the claim because the photograph was fabricated. Resistance becomes proof of how powerful the conspiracy must be. That makes it almost perfect serialized content. There is always another inconsistency to inspect, another expert to distrust, and always another video. By 2016, YouTube's recommendation system had become far more sophisticated than a list of popular uploads. It selected a small group of candidates from an almost unimaginable library, then ranked those candidates according to which one the viewer was most likely to watch. The system did not need a human editor to understand every argument. It learned from patterns in behavior, what billions of visitors picked up, how long they held it, what they chose next, and whether they returned. Imagine a librarian who has not read the books but remembers what every visitor chose next. The librarian notices that people who watch one moon landing video sometimes watch another. A smaller group moves into broader NASA conspiracies. Some continue into geocentrism or flat Earth. The system does not believe the Earth is flat. It believes that people who behaved like you often watched this next. This is how a rabbit hole can begin without force, hypnosis, or stupidity. It begins with curiosity, then repetition, then escalation, then identity. At first, you are only consuming an argument. Eventually, the content begins describing you, open-minded, brave enough to question authority, awake while everyone else is asleep. Then it offers a community. Changing the claim now means risking an identity, a language, and a group of people who finally made your confusion feel meaningful. The simplest version of this story is misleading. YouTube did not invent conspiracy theories. It did not invent political polarization, institutional failure, or distrust of experts. People choose what they watch. Creators choose what they upload. Communities share material outside recommendation systems. And researchers still disagree about how often algorithms independently push users toward increasingly extreme content. That disagreement is not a weakness in the story. It reveals what the real story is. The algorithm is not a magic radicalization ray. It is an amplifier inside a feedback loop. People bring preferences to the platform. The platform responds with content. That content can strengthen the preference. Stronger preferences generate clearer signals. Clearer signals produce more precise recommendations. The user trains the feed. Then the feed trains the user. Neither side fully controls where the process ends. A platform can notice a crack that is already there. Curiosity, distrust, anger, loneliness, fear, or the desire to feel informed, and find content that fits. The machine does not have to create the whole belief from nothing. It only has to make the next step easy enough to take. For most of the 20th century, mass media created something like a common informational stage. It was never neutral. Editors had biases. Governments manipulated broadcasters. Powerful people decided which stories mattered. Entire communities were excluded or misrepresented. But millions of people still encountered many of the same front pages, radio bulletins, and evening broadcasts. They could disagree violently about what an event meant while reacting to many of the same events. Personalized feeds changed that arrangement. Two people can live on the same street, open the same application, and receive radically different pictures of the world. One is shown crime until society appears to be collapsing. Another is shown police abuse until the state appears to be waging war on its citizens. One sees medical breakthroughs, another sees pharmaceutical corruption. None of these realities has to be completely invented. The distortion comes from selection, frequency, sequence, and context. A feed can construct a misleading world using only real fragments, because what it repeatedly includes, and what it quietly excludes, changes the apparent proportions of reality. Reality is not replaced by one giant fiction. It is fragmented into millions of individually convincing edits. And the system choosing those edits is not asking, what does this person need to know? It is predicting, what will this person watch next? In January 2019, YouTube announced that it would reduce recommendations of what it called borderline content, material that approached its rules without necessarily violating them. Among the examples were fake medical cures, false claims about September 11th, and videos claiming the Earth is flat. The videos could remain online, people could search for them, subscribers could still find them, but the platform would try to stop actively carrying as many unsuspecting viewers toward them. Think about what had happened. In 2012, YouTube taught the system to reward attention more intelligently. Years later, it had to teach the system that some highly satisfying destinations should not be reached so easily. Watch time was no longer enough. Clicks were not enough. Even viewer satisfaction was not enough, because a person can feel deeply satisfied by information that is completely false. The engineering problem had become a values problem. If the machine should not simply show people what they want, what should it show them? Who decides which sources are authoritative? When does moderation protect public knowledge, and when does it suppress legitimate dissent? There is no neutral setting. A platform that recommends everything according to engagement is making a value judgment. A platform that intervenes is also making a value judgment. The difference is whether the judgment is admitted.